Alright, so this is a Disaster Area Designs DPC-5. For all intents and purposes, it is the unholy triune marriage of three incredibly useful pieces of equipment, all jammed into one box. Now the purpose of this video is to tell you about the features of the pedal and what you can do with it, and then in the near future I'll make a couple more that will show you how to set it up to work with your rig, and another video after that probably to show you how it works with mine. So what I want to talk about are these three really useful functions that it has. The first of which is this yellow mode here, and basically allows the unit to function like a true bypass switch. Before I get too deep into that, I want to tell you about this row of inputs back here. There are two rows of inputs here. The furthest to the right is your buffered input and unbuffered input below that. You can actually do some cool stuff with that we'll discuss in another video that you can do with some dip switches on the inside. But following that, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually a fifth sort of send and receive set of inputs here that you can use to either plug one pedal into or a series of pedals. So in this case, I have my diamond compressor on the first loop, my lunar module on the second, the gain changer on the third, the Timmy on the fourth, and the EP booster will go in the fifth. I don't have it in there now because I don't have another cable. So as soon as I get one of those, I'll throw that in there. Then there's also the standard output of the pedal and a tuner out in this slot. And then over here is an expression an expression jack and a TRS jack that I'll discuss here in a few minutes. But like I said, this mode will allow you to punch effects in and out in whatever order you like, as much as you like, which I think is really kind of cool. So with that, we'll jump over to the next mode, which is a MIDI controller mode. This is much like the mode that is in the DMC series of pedals. And the cool thing about this is that you can either set it up to use it with either one MIDI controlled pedal or two. I only have the Strymon timeline on my board, but I know a lot of you guys are using the timeline and the Mobius, or maybe a couple of factor pedals from Eventide or the Space, and we can definitely set it up to use with those. But for the purpose of this demo, I'll just show you what I'm doing on my board. So we have it set up for single MIDI mode with the timeline. The furthest buttons to the left here are up and down banking. You can hold to go faster, much like you could on the DMC. Very cool. You could, with the middle switch, this is a master off and on bypass switch, which is cool. This button here is much like holding down the A or B button on the timeline to do that infinite repeat kind of thing. And the button to the far right here is maybe my favorite feature of the whole thing. This is a tap tempo switch, but because of the functionality built in to the TRS control here, I can actually use it to send simultaneously tap tempo signal to my timeline and my flint. I have that set up for some cool tremolo stuff, and whatever speed I tap here will be reflected on both pedals, which is maybe just the coolest thing in the world at this point. So yeah, so you can do tap tempo with that. In the dual MIDI mode, both sets here will be up and down banking. For this will be pedal 1, this will be pedal 2, with master bypasses on these switches by holding them down, and this would still be your tap tempo. So that's how it works with two pedals. We're going to skip around here and go back to this white mode, which is the loop control mode in the timeline. So I will go into looper mode here, and this is your record, and then play, overdub, don't overdub. This is your reverse, half speed, and this is undo, redo. Hold for that. So very cool function there. Very standard if you are familiar with the DMC line. So we'll go back here to these three banks. You've got a red bank, a green bank, and a blue bank that allow the pedal to function much like a Musicom Lab or one of the other sort of programmable loopers. So what you're able to do is not only map certain pedals that you want in your loop here, but also coordinate that to your timeline. So on the red mode here, my first loop, if you watch over here, I'll go over here, engages my echoplex delay, as well as my compressor and the fourth pedal, which is the Timmy. So with that sound, I'll have my compressor on, the Timmy, and this echoplex. Then when I switch over to this, I have the lunar module and the gain changer going with a data delay. So that's how that works. The cool thing about this is that you actually have different folders you can use, and I'll talk about this in another video, that'll give you 60 presets between your three different modes. And if that all wasn't cool enough, using the startup menu you can actually turn off and on any of these modes. I've shown you all the modes that are capable at this point, and you can choose to have any of them you want. You can have one preset mode along with your manual mode, is what we're calling this, sort of the true bypass looper, and the Midi mode, or you can have just 3 preset folders or whatever you want. It's all configurable, all useful, and all very, very awesome. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial and demonstration on what's possible, and look out for those other videos coming up very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe and leave some comments. Thanks.